How's it going, YouTube? This is a Kappa knife, and today we're going to take a little look at this rifle. This is the Hatsan Galatian in .25 caliber. This is an interesting rifle, and it's one definitely worth taking a look at. I'm kind of just doing on-the-ground overview, just kind of, so grab a nice beverage, a cold drink, whatever you prefer. Me, today I'm drinking black coffee, and we're just going to talk about this rifle and its capabilities and why one might be interested in purchasing one of these. So, as I've said, it's a pre-charged pneumatic, so that means that air is stored in the cylinder right here, okay? And you can fill it via hand pump, scuba tank, or a portable compressor, okay? Those are kind of your three options you got. I bought this rifle, I want to say, about 8 years ago. So this is a long-term review. I want to really stress that to potential viewers, that this is not you know, some willy-nilly I just got it out of the box type of review. This is a rifle that has been put through its paces. You'll notice that its color is different. This isn't a special edition or something like that. I painted it with Krylon, and it gets a lot of attention when I go to the gun range. It looks really interesting. And I don't know, I've gotten I've had people say that, you know, why do I have snow camo when it doesn't snow where I live, and stuff like that. I find it interesting how people react to the paint job. I painted it with Krylon, which has been holding up really well, but I chose almond color, which to me is sand color, so it looks tactical, it kind of looks racy. And I like that, and so really I just painted it for aesthetics. But the truth is the buildings that I live around, okay, the compound that I live in, the buildings are all painted this color. So if I take a picture of this rifle and take 5 feet, you know, steps back, and I take a 10 feet a picture of it 10 feet back, you can see that it blends in with its environment around the structure where I live. So I like the paint job, and it's just kind of cool. So we'll get off that. Generally, when you buy this rifle, the different colorations that it comes in, and the different models that it comes in. One of them has a pistol grip, and one of them has this more shotgun style look to it. Also, it comes in a synthetic of both those versions previously mentioned. It also comes in a walnut stock version, walnut here, and it has kind of a nickel looking receiver. So let's talk a little bit about it. Let's kind of dive into this. So the rifle's made by Hatsan, okay, that's a Turkish company, and all political jargon aside, okay, let's kind of just face the music here. Within the last couple of years, the last 5-10 years, we've seen a drastic amount of importation of rifles from Turkey, and the quality of the guns that they're making are actually phenomenal. You have the Canik, what is it, the TP9 or something like that. I've heard nothing but good reviews about that pistol that offers value that has been basically unseen before. I think that, you know, just off the top of my head here, that pistol was in the ballpark of 300 and something, and the quality that it's made in really rivals similar pistols like a Glock or something like that. So I think that the quality that the Turks are capable of is, without a question, very, very, very well made guns. And so, you know, like I said, all political stuff aside, okay, I feel as though that when my money's spent, okay, it doesn't matter where I'm looking on the market. If I find a tool that can deal with a potential task or problem or whatever have you, I'm going to choose something that I can save money and still get good value. And I think that that's definitely the type of weaponry and tooling that they make. This is no different. I know a lot of guys out there might be saying, well, this is an air gun, and you really have to broaden your understanding of what an air gun is. A simple, lever action Daisy, Red Ryder that we grew up with is not this. They're very different things. And going down the list, there's different capabilities and power potentials, is I guess what I'm trying to say. I've gone to the gun range and guys have seen me with this, and when they find out it's an air rifle and that it's running off air, in their head, they've said, they've had lapses of the tongue and been like, oh, so it's a BB gun. It's and I feel like in their head they're grouping it together with this idea that it's something that's, toy-like in its very nature, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that's really not the case with pre-charged pneumatics, more so especially. Even the brake barrel gas ram or spring piston type of guns, I call them guns because that's what they are. It fires a projectile through a rifled barrel, and you don't want to be in the way of it. I certainly don't want to be in the way of it, and nor should you point it at something that you do not wish to destroy potentially or kill or maim. So let's look at this through the approach that let's open up our minds, broaden our understanding of what a rifle is, okay, because it has a rifled barrel. Let's broaden our understanding and let's call it a gun, because that's what it is. It uses propellant, okay, in this case a pre-charged, okay, so high pressure air. There's 3,000 psi currently in this tank, this cylinder right here, okay. That's not something you just want to take a wrench to and try and unscrew. And as a matter of fact, I saw a video on YouTube of a guy that he was making modifications to this, and he had installed a part that was incorrectly machined from a custom machinist that had spec'd it out and said, hey, it's good, okay, and it had exploded while he was charging it, and it blew a 50 caliber, about this big. I'm just kind of doing hand gestures. That's the Italian in me, by the way, guys. I just talk with my hands. But it blew a 50 caliber piece of steel clear through his thigh. And when I say clear through his thigh, I mean that the end of it was pushing out the skin on the other side of his thigh. This is not something we want to ball into the category of a toy, okay? We need to have a greater respect and understanding for what it is. I kind of tell people that the difference between pre-charged pneumatic and a firearm is, obviously you're not burning powder, but what you're doing is it's kind of like the equivalent of an electric car versus a internal combustion engine. Are we starting to, kind of see how they're comparable and how they're different? You know what I mean? So since we've got that covered, we've got those kind of ground rules that this is not a toy, okay? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it's capable of, and that's kind of what I want to inform potential buyers, is because going into it, before I got my very first pre-charged pneumatic, I had a lot of questions as to, what to expect, because you read these statistical, spec sheets, and it looks good on paper, but what can it really do for me, the end user? What can it achieve? And so I want to paint a picture just by discussing this firearm, and then we'll get into a little bit of details about the actual hardware here, what this does. So I bought this rifle approximately 8 years ago, okay? It's had several of thousands of rounds put through it, okay? It's never had a jam, not once. It's never not gone out. It's not had a misfire, a hang fire, this or that, okay? And so here we have, you can just see some of these are bands. These are bands on the bipod because that's where the gun range tapes them. So you can see that I have bands. And these all equal trips to the gun range. And there's even bands, overlapping bands and stuff, where they charge me my admission. I go in there and I shoot. When I go shoot, okay, I watch all the people come and leave, okay? Not intentionally, even though I am kind of a people watcher and kind of a loquacious person, a gregarious person, if you will, and I like talking with people and whatnot. But I watch people come and they bring, an AR-15 or a shotgun, and they'll shoot their guns for approximately an hour, maybe. And I'm literally there all day. Okay, so it's like the kind of operation where you pack a lunch. And so that's something I want to bring up is price. It's very cheap to shoot a pre-charged pneumatic rifle. You're paying for just the lead. You aren't paying for brass. You aren't paying for primer and powder and stuff like that. So this 25 caliber, for example, it's cheaper than shooting 22 long rifle. So and here again, I'm not stacking this versus firearms, but it's just kind of overall comparison, just so you can gauge, kind of what's what, and kind of get a feel for, is this for you? So I will go to the range and I'll fire in upwards of 500 to 1,000 rounds every time I go to the range. And I'll shoot at 50 yards, 25, 100. I'll shoot at various ranges. And I have a lot of fun with that. And so price, it's a lot cheaper. But let's talk about, shooting characteristics. So with a pre-charged pneumatic, okay, you don't have this, you don't have necessarily a bang. This rifle is actually pretty loud. It's about on par with a 22 long rifle, okay? And so, interestingly enough, with pre-charged pneumatics, generally you can get a moderator. This is something that's common. A lot of people do. It's basically a silencer, not to be confused with a shroud. A shroud goes over the barrel. What you see here is actually the barrel, okay? There's no sleeve. It's an actual full-on German-made barrel. And that's something that Hatsan prides themselves on, that they use German steel throughout the rifle, okay? So, and I've heard that these are actually Lothar Walther barrels. I've heard that, and I can't verify that, but I've seen YouTube videos where guys were able to disassemble them and find little stamping marks. So either way, they claim that they're German steel barrels. They are phenomenally accurate. So I have a TKO on this right now. I actually have a Lone Wolf moderator, and so the TKO is a lot smaller and it's lighter weight, and it kind of has this carbon fiber wrap on it, and I painted over it, which, whatever. But yeah, so shooting characteristics is very low recoil to no recoil. It all depends on the caliber you choose and the weight of round that you're throwing. So did you hear what I just said? The weight of the round that I'm throwing. That's very critical. A lot of guys concentrate when they get into air rifles on how fast the rifle is throwing, and that's not necessarily what we care about. What we care about is the weight of the round, and then we want to multiply that times speed. So the round's weight times the speed is how you get the equal sign, and then you get the foot-pounds of energy. Foot-pounds of energy is what we want. These are capable of high amounts of FPE, foot-pounds of energy on target, okay? More so than, say, a piston gun, okay? There's only so much cocking effort you can put into a piston gun to make it deliver what, the output of power. And with pre-charged pneumatics, they have guns that are up to, 45 caliber and such. So the shooting characteristics of this rifle are very fantastic. This is a very heavy gun. That's something that's worth noting. It is not a light rifle. This rifle, I believe, weighs like 8.59 pounds. I don't think I've weighed it in a while, but I want to say with the scope, I have a little bubble level on there, so that weighs a good couple of ounces. I have a bipod on here. I've got a TKO moderator on there. These add weight, not too much to where it's taxing. This rifle is set up to be a bench rifle, that sort of thing. This is not the kind of rifle I would want to carry all day throughout the woods. It is not my best friend. It feels like I'm lugging around a BAR. And I believe the last time I weighed it, I came to the understanding that this thing weighed like 13.5 pounds, maybe more, by just a little bit. So that's kind of my weight. This is a very heavy rifle. If you take all this off, it's like a 8-9 pound gun. And it comes with iron sights. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to get comfortable here. So it comes with iron sights, really nice iron sights that would mount right about here on this rail. That's both, I believe it's Picatinny and it's a dovetail combo rail, which is fantastic. I mean, mounting an optic could not get any easier than this. Okay, and you can see right here where we have this sort of hollow out. I don't know if you can see the step in that. I'll kind of like that. Now we can see it. Okay, so you can see that there's a step. That's where this front sight used to be. I put this as a dedicated scoped rifle. I'm using on top, this is a UTG AccuShot, and I believe it's the 36 color combo version, and it has an adjustable parallax that we can kind of look at right here. So let's look at that. So you can dial in your parallax and your focus at various yardages, and so this is really useful. The bubble level, I kind of just threw that on there because I got kicks. It just gives me the pink fuzzies. It's back to that thing I was talking about, how guys like to have gauges. We like to know what's going on, and so it helps me know, because think about it, guys, think about it. So you're aiming at 100 yards. Okay, a little bit of deviation can affect to a large degree where that round's going. Okay, so having a bubble level on it could be considered useful. Okay, we do have excess rails, and honestly I don't think I've ever used these side ones, so maybe I take those off eventually, but the end user can decide that. You have a fully adjustable trigger, so you see these two, and I would actually recommend from factory adjusting it. I know that's a lot of guys, and it's not my nature as well to adjust things. Okay, I'm not the kind of guy that just likes messing around with things for no reason. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? But I would adjust those, because I actually had it malfunction just one time in the field, and what it was my trigger screws had came loose. And so it was affecting, I kept having to squeeze the trigger harder. I'm like, something's up. And, when I took a firearms training class way back in the day, they always told me, if it feels weird, don't do it. If it feels like something's amuck or amiss, don't force it, because that's those are some of the warning signs that you want to pay attention to. Okay, for catastrophic failures and stuff like that. And it could have easily hang fired to where there you are pulling the trigger, and it takes it's not engaging properly. So I guess moral what I'm saying is just a safety warning. Go ahead, lock tight those screws, get them where you want them, and one's going to adjust the travel, and one of them's going to adjust the way it breaks. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that. But so one of the things that I like about this rifle is it is user-friendly in the sense that it's got all the bells and whistles. Okay, it comes with a spare mag. The mag clicks into the stock. The detent's not that strong. Okay, it's not an over powerful detent, but I've never had it drop out in the field. Okay, and I've used this quite a bit. The butt plate can go up, it can go down, as well as this comb piece. It's adjustable via these two screws. And so an interesting thing about it is this rifle comes with this rubber coated texture. It's very nice feeling, and I feel like a lot of guys will really like that. If your hands are sweaty, if you're in a hot climate, even wearing gloves, I feel like this rifle sticks to you. And obviously with mine, I've painted over that finish, but to each their own. Excuse me. So you can move this comb up if you need proper alignment with the scope. Supposing you have higher mounts or something like that, you can dial this rifle in. It's like it can conform to the user. okay, and not vice versa, the user having to conform to it, or the user having to accommodate for the tool, okay? The tool can accommodate for you, okay? So that's kind of a nice feature is, you know, you have that ability. Another ability is this has a removable, I'm gonna go ahead and put the bipod down, just kind of get that out of the way. So the air tube right here, one second, guys, I'm trying to get comfortable. We're not seeing my disorganized man cave, okay? My little den. It has this this air tube, this air cylinder, is actually removable. So hypothetically, if you bought another spare cylinder, which they sell, and I want to say that they're like 80, maybe 150 bucks. I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that it's reasonably priced, more so than any other company. And some companies don't have removable air cylinders. This is removable. You can unscrew this without the fear of anything going catastrophically wrong or hurting the gun or you. You can unscrew this and it's perfectly safe. I can do it right now. I can turn it and unscrew it. I'm not gonna completely do it, guys, but I think you guys get the point. Here's our dust cover. So when we rotate that, you see how it opens up. And I honestly believe that this is one of the best dust covers I've seen. Okay, I have another couple of rifles. One of them's the Flash Pup, and it utilizes a plug. The plug that you put in and you pull out, and you got to catch it. And what if it gets dirt on it, and then you got to put it back in? It's kind of a pain, right? And I have an Evonix or Evanix Rain Cloud, okay, and that's a fantastic rifle, and maybe I'll do a review on that. But the Evanix or Evonix, I call it both interchangeably. Just like I call this Hatsan and Hatsan. Like who really knows how to pronounce these things? I don't know. But it has a very difficult one. When you try and turn it, it is just, you have to put all your muscle into it. This thing just rotates smooth. On, off, close it, keep that dirt out. Let's see if I can't back this rifle up. There's our manometer, okay, right here, and that's going to tell us our pressure, okay? And so let's see, right now we're right about the 150 bar, okay? So we have our manometer so that we can gauge how many shots we have left, whatever pressure. I'm going to go ahead and fold this up, bring it back, and so it's been a fantastic rifle. That's why I wanted to review it. I wanted to show it to you guys. I think that with me, it's service history, if you will, okay, and its track record in terms of its performance and reliability. I think that it's just done outstanding. And so I kind of want to take you into it a little bit. So I bought this rifle. This was my first pre-charged pneumatic. I didn't know what to expect, really. I mean, I had done my research, I had done my homework, but it's totally different than if you've never owned one, okay, and you go buy one, okay. It's just a mind-blowing experience to fire a pre-charged pneumatic repeating rifle for the first time. Yeah, that's right, it's a repeater, and it uses these magazines, and they index. The rifle indexes this cylinder, okay, and that's how you you have the ability to have follow-up shots or repeated shots, and it's very simple. These are an aluminum, I'm guessing, anodized, and I'm sorry I smack so much, guys. I from talking so much, my tongue just kind of dries out here. But it's got these O-rings. It's a really simple design, and if it gets dirty, this is something you can wash. And with a lot of other air rifles, okay, you have auto indexing mags, which are really quite complicated, I guess, because you have these little mechanical parts, and you have little engagement surfaces, and little triggers and gizmos and what have you, and they have to, you know, it has to have synchrony, you know what I mean? And it's a mechanical device. You're depending on a lot. Now, that's not to say that this doesn't have mechanical gizmos and gadgets, but it's inside the rifle, okay? And it's pretty likely that someone could easily drop something like this in the dirt or whatever have you. And if you're going to drop your magazine in the dirt, I would rather have something that's easier to clean, okay, than something that's got clockwork in it, which is quite literally what it's like. It's very small, mechanical instruments that don't really necessarily, you don't want to put them in dirt. So I think what Hatsan did with these magazines is just fantastic. I think this is perfection. I don't think it needs to get any better than this. Now, is that to say that I don't like cassette magazines, as they're called? Okay, my Evanex uses them. My Flash Pup uses them. I had a Crossman, I believe it was a Maximus. It used them. I've actually had more problems with cassette magazines. I have had them, okay, with some of the Crossman magazines, but I have not ever had problems with these, okay? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. One thing that I like about these is you can actually file, okay, on these notches right here. I'll see if I can't actually zoom in. I don't want you to see my nails or anything, but so one thing about these is they have these notches right here that you can see these, and I filed mine with a portion of a nail file, and it showed, and I polished it, and it showed, bare, shiny, very lustrous, if that's the word I'm even looking for, aluminum, okay, very shiny. And so, one second, guys. I'm trying to get my camera just right. There we go. So it showed a shiny piece of steel, or in this case, aluminum. And so to the point where it was one of those things where, okay, so now I've got a notch to where I can see my cylinder, and I can keep an empty cylinder, okay? And what that allowed me to do was keep my rifle safely chambered on an empty cylinder, okay? And if I'm chambered on an empty cylinder, there's no risk of a round being in the barrel. But what it allows me to do is if I see a rabbit or something worth, game worth harvesting, okay, it allows me to safely transport my rifle, okay? That's basically what I'm getting at here. I can lower my hammer by pulling my trigger and slowly releasing my bolt on an empty cylinder. I don't have to worry about a round being loaded in the rifle that I then have to shoot in a safe direction out of the rifle, okay, because there's no extractors, okay. That's the difference between this and a firearm. That's one of many differences, okay. It doesn't have an extractor. It's similar to that of a black powder rifle, okay. Once the round's loaded, the only way to get rid of it is in a safe direction, okay? So in order to safely walk around with this, I lower that hammer on an empty cylinder, okay? And this is the bolt. The bolt actually, this is how it operates. You cock this back, and this is a side lever repeating action, okay? So when it gets to here, okay, and that lever comes back, okay, that's when you're actually engaging the internal hammer, okay? So when I pull this all the way back and I feel that spring tension, that's when I'm engaging it. When I engage that, at the same time, like clockwork, this is going to turn and it's going to index, and then it'll stop at the end of the completion. Interestingly enough, on this rifle, something really cool is when it's cocked back, there's a tab that pops out, okay, and it's got a red little warning indicator, and it lets you know that the rifle is cocked. It does not let you know if the rifle is chambered. It lets you know if the rifle is cocked, okay? That's very much worth noting, okay? It lets you know that you've then cocked the rifle, okay? So you would obviously, for safety procedures, you would obviously assume that you have it chambered, but that's really only if you complete the action, right, and chamber it, okay? Right now, you didn't see that move because I didn't go far enough back to index the mag to then chamber it, okay? And I like keeping my air rifles, pretty much ready to go hunting or whatever have you. This is how I store it. It's on an empty chamber. I have a loaded mag. And so Interestingly enough, this model, Hatsan, they've been doing this on some models. They've been doing it on they've been doing away with it on some models. Okay, so this has an auto engaging safety. When this is cocked, okay, it will show you that it's cocked, let you know that there is tension on the spring. Okay, the hammer is cocked, and then it will auto engage that safety just like that. It'll automatically do it every time you cock it. Okay. I've never not had it do it. It just works. So this some guys will like that, some guys won't. But it's very, very ergonomically placed. The safety, it's an ambidextrous safety. It's good for left-hand shooters, right-handed shooters. And when you're on the rifle, this is what it looks like. You have your finger near the trigger, okay, and you can very easily click off and then fire. Just like that. Click off and then fire. So it's just something that you get used to. When you cock the rifle, it goes like this. It moves it back. You find the target that you're trying to place a shot at. You remove the safety when you're ready to fire, and then you go in and you fire, and then repeat the process by racking the bolt back. Okay. This is just a fantastic rifle. It really is. Would I recommend this for your, I don't know, first time person to get a pre-charged pneumatic? Well, yes and no. I mean, it kind of depends. Are you comfortable carrying a heavy rifle? That's one of that's the only negative that goes with this rifle. It's a very heavy rifle. If you're going to be carrying it through a field every day and you're going to get it for, say, your 10-year-old son, I don't know that I could really recommend this rifle. It's a heavy rifle. It's a lot to lug around. But that being said, if you're someone that's looking for a rifle that's very comfortable to bench rest and handle, I've noticed when I take gentlemen out to shoot this rifle, and ladies, they have a good time with this rifle. It's very intuitive. It's very easy to adapt to and to find your comfy positions and to just make this rifle home, and shoot off of it. So let's talk kind of about power. What kind of power could this rifle put out? And I believe that this is like rated at a 40 foot-pound rifle, or possibly even a 60 foot-pound rifle. It's somewhere in between that. But let's just say that you could very easily take a medium-sized game from, rabbits to raccoons to coyotes. You could do this ethically. And I've taken mini rabbits and, possums and all kinds of critters via pest control or hunting. Now, what I will say is for anybody that's offended by, the idea of hunting or, stuff like that, I will tell you that really that's not something that my, videos will be largely based on. And I will also kind of reassure them that I like hunting. But the thing is it's just kind of who I am. I'm kind of just a paper puncher. I just like shooting for the competitive aspect, or the getaway, the peace of mind that shooting gives me, the being on the range, having range time. This rifle comes with me camping. I camp up with it. I bring it along, and it's excellent for plinking, and even I would go as far as possibly protection. It's better than nothing. It's a fantastic rifle, and anything, even out to 100 yards. I shoot out to 100 yards. This is a fantastic rifle. And so the first time me shooting this rifle was just mind-blowing to be able to fire and then repeat fire. And this can get a solid 4 mags through it. You will have a point of impact changed after probably your second or third mag, okay? The bullet in the bullet drop compensator, okay, you've got your cross, okay, and then you've got your dots. Your bullet drop compensator it might go down an inch, okay? And your velocity may decrease slightly, okay? But other than that, you have adequate amount of supply. I don't know how many is that. Let's see, 13 shots, something like that. Let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I should have counted this before. 4, 4, 8. 14 shots, something like that. But yeah, you have an adequate supply of ammunition just with what the gun came with. 2 mags is adequate. If you're hunting, if you're doing pest control, you shouldn't really need more than that. But I just love this rifle, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys. I think that if you bought this rifle, or better yet, if you're in the market for this rifle, I think it's the right rifle for you. However, competitive options, are there cheaper rifles? Are there lighter rifles that are cheaper? Yeah. I have a Flash Pup, and maybe I'll do a review for that for you guys. And when I do that review, I'll compare the two, and you guys can kind of get an idea of what you're dealing with here. I think that there's more to a gun than just the price. There's more to a gun than just the looks. There, you have to kind of factor in all these things to find out, you know, hey, is this really for me? And what I always tell people, I guess, is I like the fact that it has all the bells and whistles. This, to me, is not a rifle that I can necessarily outgrow. When I bought this rifle, it cost me, I want to say it was $900 plus, you know, $130 scope and little knickknacks here and there. Okay, it adds up. But the point is I bought a rifle that I could very easily grow into and not outgrow. This rifle, I will I'll never be limited by it, if that makes any sense. If I want something, okay, better than it, then it'll be out of want and not need. This is a fantastic rifle, and I think if you're looking at this rifle, or possibly maybe you're just curious about pre-charged pneumatics in general, this is a rifle worth taking a look at. Thank you. This is Cap Knife. If you like this just kind of brief overview, click like and subscribe. Thank you.